Thank you for coming on into the live and sharing your essence with me in this eternal moment of which we all share an inextricable and inexorable part. Thank you for doing your part, for coming on in each and every day, and we'll do the same without wasting a single second of your time. Bada bing, bada boom, we go into the charts, making BTC go above that 44K level, which is this range drop from April 21st, 2022. At 9 a.m. we dropped down beneath that, never to return in 2022. So we are back above that level. And actually, sorry, that was the 42K. We were up at some resistance levels over here, which are some rise up areas from 2021 and some bounce wicks zones over here, some rejection levels from January of 2022. So some significant support. Can we hold it and maintain as we are in this diagonal pitch fan between the 886 and the 786 region, which we've seen rejection at before from April of this year? So let's go into the liquidity of high block. What is high block? Well, people lock that liquidity into the charts to get burned to a crisp by the market maker for not using a stop loss, and we get to see where those crispy characters are. So let's do it now. So as we predicted, there was a possibility of coming up into this region to get these underwater shorts that opened up into support. Not a good look, and they came back to those guys. Let's go see what the tune was for that damage up here. They left some on the chopping block, but basically 193 million reclaimed up in here.
Fatality.
And now they are starting to retrace back down into some of these breakout 100xers that have no idea what they're doing, and they came back to grab 91 million of the 100x longs that opened up into resistance.
Fatality.
And as it stands right now, we are at 21 billion imbalance to long liquidity that we could come back into at some point. Let's go look at the prediction made and what we said would need to hold, and then we'll go into the higher time frame. So we were talking about possibly coming up to that pool. We came just shy of that pool, and I'm saying there might be a stiff rejection idea, but we were saying you'd need to come back above the cloud. We'll turn this on momentarily to see. Basically, your entry model would have been over here. It did not occur when we hoped, but it still closed the candle above that here at 10 p.m. New York time. So Momentum Master had you at hello for the prediction of upside here. So it basically shifted time zones from you were banging your head up against resistance, you wait for that confirmation kiss of the cloud, recovery SR flip of this region, and boom, easy money. So let us go back to the higher time frame to see what type of liquidity lurks in which direction. Shout out to everyone here. How's everyone doing? It is Saturday, December 9th here in Asia. So we came back into this region at 44,750, came and gobbled up all these guys. We still have some more up in the range of 45,600 if we want to come higher. There is some more liquidity on the 7-day to suggest that, but it is starting to get mighty thick down below, but it's only $1 billion pools, nothing to write home about. If we go to the monthly, the monthly time frame also has these near double-digit pools all the way up to that 45.5 region that they could sweep up and tap into. They took the double-digit pools, the low-hanging fruits we were talking about at 44.7 and 44.6. These double-digit pools on the monthly are now reclaimed. Will they come up and clear them all? We talked about they don't have to do that. There are times where they leave things on the table and don't clear their plate before getting up off the table. All right, so let's go to the 3-month. 3-month has double digits up at 45 even, double digits 45.2, double digits 45.4, and 45.6. Starts to taper at 45.8. Basically everything it was saying on the lower time frame, 45.6 being the $40 billion that it could go up to, getting mighty thick down below at some stage. Do you get a scam wick down to those regions? Watch your trades, stop loss and profit, and you need not worry. 31 billion at 44.7. 45.3 has 30 billion, 18 billion, 45.6 on the 6-month. And last but not least, the 2-year. The 2-year is got 74 billion at 44.8. They might have actually taken that. 55 billion at 45.2. Starts to taper at 45.6 and 46 even. And let's go back to the monthly and head into the charts. I got my kids to watch soon, so I will make this short and sweet, hopefully. So we do have some liquidity. We could jump up into that 45.8, put in a higher high, so watch out for that. We're talking about this possibility of coming lower. What does that mean? Well, let's throw on our heads up display, link in the description for more, momentummaster.info for that suite of the suites. And you can toggle everything at features, read about trend cloud, baseline, stochastic array, all the bread and butter, and fixins that would have had you at hello at this cloud flip. We also flipped the super trend. The baselines were holding. It was a easy idea to think about. Okay, so we are also above this region here, holding the double bottom event. The double bottom plays out more often than not. So where do we go from here? Let's go ahead and erase this. This pool is still kind of on the chopping block at 45.7 or 44.7. But let's go start to make our descent through the time frames. The 3-day time frame, I believe, closed with a bullish hammer. Let's see if this wick justifies that by fitting in the 382 region or not. Does stay in that 382, so that is objectively bullish, to remain bullish rather. So the 382 is still in a bullish state, and we have this closing less volume than the previous candle, but still holding its own buyback wick off that equilibrium we went over. And let's go lower in the time frame. Weekly candle close in 2 days, be aware of that. We got the money flow beneath the RSI here on the dailies, poising for that insertion of the money to the RSI, causing a double top on the KD of the stochastic RSI. You are getting a little bit gassed on the Williams. You could be coming down at some point in the near future, which is why we were looking at that potential of scam wicking down. The 22-hour starting to flash a potential cross, so be aware of that. Unless it closes in that state, you're taking a risk similar to what we were talking about on the 3-day. So you want to see it close for that confirmation, not yet inbound. The money flow beneath the RSI here also suggests a possibility of push up into the pools we talked about here. Sorry, on the monthly. Let's zoom in up here at that 45.5. So could we go up to that 45.5 region? It's a hop, skip, and a jump away from how far we've come. So not out of the cards just yet. 12-hour time frame, money flow beneath the RSI, suggestive of that upside play. We have yet to get that cross down event, but we are on the threshold of fatigue if there ever was a point. And we are also starting to see on the 6-hour reclaiming the thin boy baseline, starting to play out here. We had some bullish divergence on the, what was that? on the RSI here. So you had some bullish divergence on the RSI, and that was from back here, bullish divergence, and that started to pop us off of the Keltner channel. Do we continue higher here with the gassed out Williams or not? Looking at the 4 hour also had some bullish divergence off the money flow disparity. This is what we talk about all the time when the money flow goes beneath the RSI like it did here. This insinuates the money flowing back up to the RSI. It did it here, and it does it on the opposite side of the spectrum here. When the money flow gets above the RSI, it comes back down. When it gets below the RSI, it comes back up. So this would have had you at hello back in that London session for that insinuation of upside for that surge up to that pool above. If we go to the 4 hour, it's still playing out. So the 4 and the 6 still attempting to play out here with the possibility of 12-hour double top / suppression. And the hourly coming up in a manner here, the leading MACD breaking into that domain of the stochastic. Can it continue higher here? We have the hourly breaking that cloud. We talked about that interesting cloud kiss entry idea, watching the cloud flip and trading with the cloud. Okay, do we continue higher here? We are meandering about in the overbought status. Williams gassed as well. Let's go to the lower time frame. The 15 had that nice little cloud kiss once again here, and that would have been another confirmation idea around 2, the second silver bullet time, and you would have been nicely catching that upside momentum off the cloud. Boom, for 2.4%. And yeah, we're getting this cross down event of the 15-minute. Let's go ahead and turn off this and try to, why do I have this? What is this? Fixed range volume profile. I didn't save that in my thing, so. All right, so basically on this trend-based fib from down here, this impulse retrace idea, we are up at that 2 level of the deviation for that projection on this idea. I think we basically came to the threshold on all of these, so I'm pretty secure in removing this now. So I'm going to remove this impulse, this projection for the bullish trend-based fib. We had a nice run up from there with that impulse retrace math. Okay, so if we remove this too, coming to the daily time frame, where can we go from here? Let's go ahead and look at some draws on liquidity. We have some draw over in this region, potentially at 44. Where is that? 7.3. That's kind of where we're at right now. So right now we are at this precipice. Let me go ahead and make that yellow because it is daily. So if you look left and you find all of these places where we wicked off of, wicked, rejected, wicked off of, kind of rejected. This is kind of where we're at right now, at this 44,195, this daily resistance level. If we go over here and go back in time and start to look into the candles, basically for some draw here, If we look over here for some levels over here, we also have some up in this region at 49. That's quite a ways away. That's a bit of a stretch in my opinion. So basically where we're at right now is a high resistance point. We have some more resistance over here at 45.6. So that's about where the liquidity tapers to. So those are some levels to look at. And this is how you do the 3 pillars of trading. You look at the liquidity, the math, and the momentum. Don't need to have always one on your face. You can turn it off and on like a toggle switch, like a heads up display. So where do we head from here? Is the draw, have we reached a double top event? Is this going to start to fade off of this resistance point or reach some targets up here? Let's go ahead and look at the total market cap of crypto and beyond. So here we go, daily time frame and switching sectors. Total. So the total market cap coming up above the Keltner channel here, 2 o'clock angle of the cloud is strong, bullish in nature. The 3-day is reaching up against that adaptive moving average. The last time we butt heads with that, it was back in December 2021. And rejected off of it. Do we see a flip of this for the total market cap of crypto? Whoa, what is going on here? So do we see a rejection off of this adaptive moving average and coming down to some levels here? If we take a impulse from here to here, we are not quite at that 618 level, so we have some 1.63 trillion level to watch. Up in here, do we reject off of that or not on the total market cap? 3-day is still bullish. Let's go to some lower time frames. The daily. Daily tapering in volume as we drift higher into the short liquidity, as everyone is keen to just hop into a short without confirmation, and they use that to their advantage to drift into their position, take profit levels higher. 12-hour time frame had that nice inversion off the cloud. We can delete this now. $12-hour drift slash suppressive inbound effect. Starting to get the 6-hour drift as well playing out. 4-hour. 4-hour is also inbound, very similar to BTC. Hourly looking like it could top out at some point here. Overall, still in bullish market structure, so don't be too quick to hop in anything. If you're in profit, you know where to monitor your take profit levels, hopefully. And getting 5 time frames overbought here across the total market cap, so seeing a little bit of sideways action inbound perhaps with BTC as well as they curve into the end of the week. The total 3 seeing a surge here. You're getting a little bit of an alt rally as people trim trim their positions on cryptobubbles.net. Let's go see who is. We have something called Bonk, which is going wild right now. Cardano, AVAX. I think we put out a thing for AVAX. We'll look at that in a minute. Sol, Algo, BTT, Hex, Matic, Pyth, HBAR. So everything having a little bit of a rally here. Let's go ahead and take a look. I remember talking about AVAX. We are getting a gassed out effect on total 3, but we are in bullish market, so take that for what it is. AVAX exceeded a lot of projections here, went even beyond the projection. We were talking about potential coming up into this fair value gap, and it went even higher. So we were looking at a potential re-entry with the 706 in mind back on Thursday. Let's go ahead and take a look here. Bounced off the cloud on Monday and boomed up to this region, recovering this gap entirely. And now we are above this range for AVAX. AVAX getting a nice little pump to the upside. Shout out to the person who called out AVAX. Who was that? Ada, if time. All right, will do. AVAX got that cross-up event too. Starting to get daily fatigue on this close here, so I would be surprised. I would not be surprised if something like this occurred over the coming days and a reset of the daily time frame was inbound. Got a daily fatigue cross here. You did break out the range. This would be your typical cup and handle event too, because you broke up here, and so coming back down into a range here would make sense, and basically resetting that time frame, creating this cup and handle, and then bounce off some support for a higher leg up would be a healthy move from there. Okay, let's go to ADA. We're not going to do a thorough analysis unless somebody asks for it. ADA. Ooh, ADA got some nice moves up into here. I gotta clear this out. I don't remember when I did all that, so. ADA. Let's turn off the oscillator and go ahead and look at the range for where we are breaking out of. So we're coming up to this level from August. We have yet to clear it entirely. We are butting our head up against that candle here, this wick over here on the daily time frame. We do have some levels to look at from over here. At the 62-cent value, there's some daily wicks. Rejection, 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 hard rejection. So there's also some consolidation over here from 2021. And if we use our trend-based fibs, we can take it from here, impulse, to the upside here. Essentially from here to there is probably smarter, the first impulse. And then the 236 held over here. And boom, now we're at the 1382. So the 1618 at 59, just looking at math and alone, and the support and resistance alone, seeing these levels come up into that 1618 potential. We're already above the 1382. Let's go ahead and throw on the momentum and see what's going on. We came above that adaptive moving average without hesitation. The 706 gave permission to go higher, and we are higher. 4 vector candles on the daily. That is a massive insert of liquidity on the daily time frame. An entire 3-day candle closing up in this region. Looks like it could come up to the adaptive moving average here, coming up into this region and possibly consolidating off of this range over to the left slash the adaptive 62-cent area. Could be the draw up there on the 3-day. Now if we come to the daily time frame is pushing up and gassed in a manner, overbought, but momentum is strong. 12-hour time frame pushing up with vigor on the 12-hour here. This latest 12-hour still lacks volume, so we could retrace in this region for some time. This is the ultimate draw up into that 62 range. Does that occur immediately, or do we start to retrace back down? Let's go to the 6-hour is drifting on the volume. We don't really have so much volume as we drift up here. Let's go see what is cracking on the liquidity here for ADA. Overall, you got, let's see, the imbalance in the max liquidity is whoa, why is it lagging? Hello? There we go. So we came down into some of the longs here, gobbled up, went from 890 million all the way down to 500 million, gobbled up 300 million here in this V-shaped recovery. A bunch of people opened up shorts and now they are coming back into these guys, possibly coming to that 58-cent slash 59-cent region to gobble up some more. Up here there's more liquidity in the immediate vicinity to the upside here for this band up above. We talked about coming up to that range high, so immediately coming to this region, perhaps at 59.37. That also coincides with this 1618 level. We looked at possibly coming to the 62 on the 3-day, so in 3 days time. Currently drifting on no volume though, so this is a complete draw on short liquidity here to the upside. So look for it to potentially fatigue at 59 as it stands right now. If we go to the 4-hour, 4-hour is low volume. It is the weekend to be expected, but also getting some nukes locked in there on the 4-hour. So the 4-hour nukes locking in, they V-shaped into those shorts as we saw. So now they're drifting into the short liquidity up to the 1618 at 59.23 perhaps, and so possibly coming up into this 1618 region and then possibly fatiguing out from there. The 4-hour time frame is meandering in a manner here. You're basically seeing an hourly reset, and the hourly is potentially drifting up into that area. So I would look at fatigue potential at that 59.37 mark, but overall we could be seeing a continued higher stab up to that 62 region up here. Your 2 o'clock shadow of the cloud is very strong in momentum here, so coming back into this liquidity on the longs here, or sorry, the shorts up here. They have a few $1,000,000 to grab up here, possibly fatiguing off that and then coming into these breakout trading longs. Overall imbalance is to the downside, so at some point a retrace for everything would be a healthy market move to make for ADA. So possibly coming up to that 59.37 mark. If not, you are getting a cross down event. One thing to watch out for, cross down event of the baselines here on the hourly. Does this cascade into the 4 hour? 4 hour still has mighty momentum to the upside here. So another big player could cash out their position up in here, and then you see a mighty spike down. That's my analysis for ADA. All the alts getting a little bit of a burst here. Let's go back to DXY. How's DXY doing? DXY getting a butt up against that 786 level, broke down at the 786, ultimately having this rocket ship takeoff from down here. We were looking at a potential rejection in this region for a retrace back down. Kind of getting it. We got that rejection, came back up. All right, USDT dominance breaking down even further as we break down into bullish investment territory. Let's go ahead and see where we are going with the USDT. We broke down out of this region, so that means the next stop on the journey for USDT dominance could be over here. We have a wick on the daily over here. That also bounced off that wick there, and then we also have a wick over here. So we're reaching this manipulation phase of the last trap. The trap to get people to go long and potentially go and stop them out at some point. If we go into the momentum here, this cloud started to get thicker in bearish volume, which is bullish for the market. As the dominance drops, that means more people enter trades. However, on the last 3 days, there is very little volume within that. So it's people taking profits and shifting them around to increase their profits from trade to trade. So I would expect us to this C leg to continue down to some support here at 553, perhaps on the dominance of the USDT as more people burst into some trades. Do we see some reaction off of that or not? Still got some momentum to the downside in terms of bullishness for the market. 4 hour as well, but you're reaching a fatigue point potential. BTC dominance starting to taper here as people enter the alt rally season, and we reached up into that 1618 and started to come back down. This projection is starting to become structure, so we can delete it now and we can start to put a retracement in mind from here. So we can come down to the 618 area and potentially look for a reaction off the dominance and the cloud kiss zone. Does the rally continue until this 618 hits? This coincides with the idea of that push up for ADA and other things getting that rejection after. And you have this wash between the Bitcoin and altcoin permission granted to go higher. This is your typical Bitcoin dominance cycle, understanding the dominance if Bitcoin goes sideways basically. So the Bitcoin dominance decreases as Bitcoin is stable, then the alts increase. We're in this cycle at the bottom here. Bitcoin dominance decrease, Bitcoin stable, alts will increase. So we're getting the kind of stability. Also, we had a little bit of a burst of Bitcoin. So if anything, we're in this one, the alt season, and this combined. So it's between this fast alt season and this, knowing that Bitcoin dominant cycle is a key to the markets of crypto. And we are getting this potential flash here of the cross down event in the next 12 hours during the London cycle. Will this lock in or not? We were asking that yesterday, and we were saying it needs to burst up and possibly fatigue and give a wick down with this closure to be looking at a double top scenario. If you recall, the last thing we were looking at was potentially spiking down into below equilibrium prices here. We bounced off the equilibrium once, but we didn't. This could be an inducement to go lower. So we can come down into the pocket here for a deeper retracement idea. And this could come down into here and then bounce out at some point. But ultimately coming up into this region for those liquidity zones later. So in order to refuel for that, they might need to sweep this and recover this wick in its entirety at 42.8 as a narrative. So watching how the hourly resets here, the hourly will chill out for a bit. 4 hour cross down event is inbound still, as we reject off the fat boy, so watch out for that. The 6 hour starting to make its case for coming back above the baseline, but ultimately still suppressing off of the baselines, and you are running into that resistance of the 12 hour cross down potential as we reach up into this region. So we did put in a higher high on this chart, so we could go back and put in a higher low or retrace into some pockets for some liquidity. Let's go to the 1 minute time frame for Bitcoin. Bitcoin does have some pools up at that 45.16 region, similar to ADA, but as the altcoins and the dominance drops, they could just induce and drop lower into some of this juicy liquidity below, as we are fatigued to the tune of $21 billion in long liquidity. Juiciest pool down here at 42.443. Sweeping that range would not be 44.223. What is that? 44.223. Let me see that again. 44. Yeah, 44.425-ish. 42.425-ish. 42.425, 42.425. So that would be, yeah, in this golden pocket, basically. So yeah, coming down to the golden pocket to clear those 50xers. There's a thick pool down there. No reason not to, in my opinion. And yeah, ultimately bullish, but a retrace could be in order on the 12-hour time frame, plus the 4-hour suppression and fatigue of the Williams. Williams getting gassed, needs to reset a little bit more, could suppress the takeoff of the stochastic on the Johnny come lately longs. Could just go sideways and allow the altcoins to play ball just a little bit, and then ultimately flush everything down to the cloud. This 4-hour cloud is still turning to the upside here, has yet to taper and coming back to kiss that 4-hour cloud. We have yet to see that kiss since Friday of last week, the 1st, when we SR flipped that and went higher. So coming back to the cloud at some point, I'm seeing a little bit of fatigue on Bitcoin on the 4, 6, 12 hour time frames, 22 as well. Seeing the suppression of the baselines, coming back to that super trend / cloud for that liquidity grab kiss at some point over the weekend would be a smarter play to see for that re-entry. So if you're in a long, you might want to consider paying yourself on BTC and seeing if we get this stab up to the 45 after a liquidity grab there and coming up to that later. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Let's see if anyone has anything to say. Good. All right. Hopefully everyone's enjoying their weekend. It's time for me to go enjoy mine. So I thank you for your time. Thank you for coming on into the live and sharing your essence with me in this eternal moment of which we all share an inextricable and inexorable part. Thank you for doing your part, for coming on in each and every day, and we'll do the same, bringing the